everyone. Welcome to MSI Music Scene Investigation. We're glad you're with us again today, and it's going to be a great show. NAM just finished up last week, Winter NAM, and we're going to talk a little bit about that with our guest panelist today before we get things started. But before we get into all that, I want to remind everybody what MSI is and is not. We are a show for independent musicians anywhere around the world, and we provide them free of charge music reviews that they can use. That's to say, we're not going to tell you we like it, and that's going to be the end of it. We're going to tell you what we like about it, how you can make it better. If we don't like something, we'll let you know. That's the kind of guys we are here. And we back it up with panelists who really know what they're talking about, people from the music industry who know their stuff, so to say. And let's meet them right now. Our in-house panelist from New York City is a recording engineer, lots and lots of experience he has. Tom Chianti, welcome back and happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
You look like a monkey.
And I live in a zoo. Yes, well, thank you. Yes, it's wonderful, and I'm celebrating quite normally and calmly and doing the thing I like to do, listening to new music.
Well, we're glad you're with us, Tommy, and I got to tell you, you're looking all right for an old guy.
Well, it's the makeup artist I use. It's the same one from Star Wars.
Well, when your people introduce them to my people, and maybe they'll share tips.
Okie dokie, no problem, anytime.
I appreciate that. Our guest panelist, or actually our in-house panelist from London, England, none other than Ian Husbands. He's been around the block once or twice, not only in the recording studio on the touring circuit, but has worked PR. He's an author as well. Ian, welcome back.
Thank you very much. How are we doing?
I'm doing very well. You want to tell everyone why you're sitting in the dark?
I'm in hiding. I don't want anyone knocking on the door tonight during the show. There's a possibility it could happen. Not going to go into details. Could get messy, but shh.
Okay, well, we won't pry you on the details of it, but we might be able to read about them in the paper from what I hear.
Well, who can tell? But while I'm here, I would like to give a shout out to some friends of mine. Band called Ask Me Why. They come down the jam night that I do. Young group of guys writing their own original stuff. And they need everyone to go over to Facebook, and go to the Hard Rock Cafe London page and click on the Hard Rock Rising app and find the band Ask Me Why and vote or download their song Something to Say. I think the winners get a chance to play at the Hard Rock cafes and all this sort of stuff. So go and help them out. They're good guys.
All right. What was the name of that band again, Ian?
Ask Me Why, and the track is Something to Say.
All right. Sounds good. Ask Me Why, Something to Say over at Facebook, as Ian puts it. Whatever that means. And I'm sorry, I've got to laugh at that. Our guest panelist today is a man who needs
Saying
no
the name, it gets stuck in my throat, you know?
Yeah, well, I understand that. I really do, believe me. And if you were around for IC Weekly this morning, you would have heard all about Facebook and stuff going on there. Our guest panelist today has been with us before a number of times, joined us first in June of last year, known as the Reverend Bill. Bill Evans is a musician and music journalist. He is the big guy sitting in the big chair over at the Live to Play Network and the Sound Pro Live Network. Bill is, Bill was at NAMM just this past week, and we want to talk to him about that. He's got some war stories to tell us. And, I got to tell you, if you haven't been over to the Live to Play Network, Sound Pro Live Network, you need to do it. You can find out reviews about the gear that's going on. And I presume, Bill, that you guys are going to be talking a lot about what you've seen at NAMM this past week.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be enough stuff to talk about for months and months. It was a pretty amazing show, and I am not a fan of NAMM. I pretty much hate it. I start dreading having to go in about October, and the show is in January. If you've never been to a NAMM show, it's like imagine the biggest, most crowded music store ever, with about 100,000 people in it
It's
for
like
4 days.
it's like a guitar center on steroids mixed in with a chip shop.
Well, actually, all that's missing is a hot air balloon.
Yeah,
And
kind of.
energy.
I was going to say a guitar center in hell would probably do it.
Well, I tell you now, we were talking about NAM earlier today, and a bit in the pre-show. One of the things I've seen trending in the music industry is the support of mobile apps on iOS devices, on Android devices, and things like that. And it's my opinion that that's not necessarily a good thing. What are you seeing out there on the floor at NAM from these vendors and whatnot? And what do you think about this trend?
Well, it really depends on where you're talking about with the trend. I mean, there are certain things. We've done reviews of kind of guitar amp modeling on iOS devices. Some of it sucks. Some of it's actually pretty good. I've gone out and done gigs with my iPad and a Tech 21 Power Engine 60, which weighs about 12 pounds instead of my Boogie Mark II or Mark III that weighs 75 pounds, and gotten every tone that I need. The place where I think it's more appropriate, and we saw a lot of this, was in control of systems. PreSonus has had a digital mixer for musicians and small sound companies for a long time called the Studio Live line, which I like a lot. I actually own one. And you've been able to control everything on the mixer with an iPad for probably a year. They introduced at this show a new functionality that allows you to assign an aux send. And for those who aren't technically minded, an aux send is generally means auxiliary send. It's usually where you get your monitor mix from when you're on stage. Each aux send is a monitor mix. And through the system now, you can give control of an aux send to an individual iPhone or iPod Touch device. So a musician can be on stage, and if he's not happy with, he needs a little bit more meat in his ears or in his wedge, he can reach down, grab his phone, and make that happen.
So, over at NAM, what were some of the best things and some of the worst things that you happened to see over there?
I honestly didn't see anything that I thought really sucked this time. There's, there was some stuff that might be misguided or badly priced. There was a line of stomp boxes that aren't anything until you flash them with an iOS device, and then they become anything you want them to be. Which is kind of cool if you're into boutique pedals and everything. I happen to think the system's overpriced for what it is, but it is kind of, a neat thing. I would say hands down for me, there were two things. One is about gear and one's completely not about gear. The not about gear was that Alan Parsons and David Pack, who was the leader of the band Ambrosia, sat down for a panel session and talked about Alan's work at Abbey Road and did stuff like they played back the original opening loop for Money off of Dark Side of the Moon in quad.
Cool.
Which, you don't get to hear very often. So that was a unique opportunity to talk to, and to get tips from one of the, the great engineers and producers, ever, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And, stay tuned to the Live to Play and Sound Pro Live networks. We will be interviewing Alan and his live sound guy, Martin Fry, here very soon. But on the gear side, for me, it has to be the new system from Line 6. I know everybody thinks of them as just a guitar modeling company. And quick aside, my voice is thrashed from NAM still, so I usually don't sound this sexy.
You sound a lot like Tommy.
Yeah, kind
great.
of. Well, but look at us though. We may be brothers. It could be.
Brothers from
Uh,
another mother.
oh God. So anyway, Line Six is I'm a fan. I use their effects products when I play out. I use their wireless. I'm a big fan of their digital wireless, which was actually developed by a guy named Guy Coker, who started a company in the 90s called X-Wire, and that's all evolved. Now Line 6 owns it, and they do some very interesting things with wireless that doesn't get stepped on by other UHF signals. But they have put out a whole system, a PA system, that is aimed at bands and musicians. And as I've talked to sound guys about this, there's some real consternation because it puts tools in the hands of musicians that they've never had before and makes them usable without a tremendous amount of technical knowledge. And this is really aimed at that band who's doing gigs where they have to mix themselves.
So you're a lot of your live mixing engineers are probably a little put off by this, perhaps.
Oh, absolutely, and I can understand why. But now the saving grace for all of us who do any kind of live mixing is that this system is limited at this point to 16 inputs and 4 aux sends, which isn't enough to do a really big gig. So the kind of gigs that sound guys are doing anyway, this really isn't going to touch, but it does allow bands and musicians who go in and do smaller gigs to really go in and get a good sound. The thing that was the most exciting about it is not, I mean, the mixer is incredible. It's all a touchscreen interface. It is not iOS, it's their own thing. And, but when you plug an input in, it knows that it's there and it asks you what it is. So if I plug a vocal mic into input 1, it tells me, okay, there's something in input 1, what is it? And I push a little button that says it's a vocal mic. And it'll actually put a picture of a singer on the stage, on the touch screen. And from there, you can assign a specific monitor to that person through the touch screen. There's a whole suite of tools, EQ, even things like multi-band compression. And I mean, Tommy can tell you too that most engineers don't know how to use multi-band compression properly. And putting that in the hands of musicians is a scary thing, but they've done it in such a way that control is on the touch screen, and it's by an XY axis. You basically put your finger down. There are labels on all 4 corners of the screen that use terms that musicians understand: dark, bright, and you move your finger around between those terms until you find the sound you want. It doesn't give you enough control to get yourself in a lot of trouble, but it does give you enough control to really sound great. Everything talks to each other. The mixer talks to the speakers talk to each other.
Now, on something like this, we have to go into, you say this is something that a small band might be able to use at a small gig and stuff like that, but is it going to be cost prohibitive? I mean, what's something like this going for? Does it look like?
And that's the thing that really blew me out. It looks like the mixer is gonna have a list price, and it's not actually out yet. It may end up being a little different than this. And seeing what they saw at NAMM, they may actually come in lower. It looks like it's going to go out at $19.99 and probably street at $14.99.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a
God,
shame.
man, what have they done?
I know. It's craziness. And I don't know what the pricing is on the speakers, but everything talks to each other over basically a Cat6 connection that they call L6 net or something like that. I don't remember what the name of it is. So the mixer knows when there's speakers plugged in. When that speaker turns on, if there's only one speaker, it knows that it's by itself. It has a mixer built in on the side with not only, powered speakers to me always came in 2 forms. There's the ones with the mixers on them, which usually suck. And there's ones without mixers on them that may suck and may be okay depending on who makes them. This has a mixer that makes sense. It includes things like reverb. It includes things like Line 6's acoustic modeling. So if you plug a quacky piezo pickup acoustic guitar in, you dial this up and it dials in some body sound, and all of a sudden it sounds like a mic'd acoustic guitar.
Wow, that's cool. That's very cool stuff.
It's really cool, and when you add to it, if you buy one and then you decide, oh, now I'm in a band and I need two, and you plug them in together, it knows that it's in stereo. You don't have to set up anything else. If you add subwoofers, it knows there's a subwoofer attached and it sets the crossovers for you.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable stuff. So, what's going on at the Live to Play Network, the Sound Pro Live, your big coverage of NAMM? I'm sure you guys are pushing the wall to try and get all that stuff out. Anything new going to be happening over there?
stay tuned is all I can tell you. We had a lot of talks at NAMM. You will see us expanding into some, let's call them niche markets. There are some very specific areas among musicians and techs with very specific needs that are not being met very well. They may have a traditional magazine, but it's not being done very well online. And so you'll see Live to Play dash fill in the blank in the next couple of months here that addresses specific genres and specific playing and technical situations.
All right, very cool. Well, Bill, we're glad to have you with us again this time around, and we definitely appreciate you coming on with us. I know we had some small technical issues in the setup earlier today, but I think we've got them all taken care of and all worked out. So, guys, we are here to listen and to review some music. So if you guys are ready to do that, I think everybody else is as well. So what do you say we get to it?
Let's
ready
do it.
when you're ready.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take a listen then to track number 1 today and find out what you all think about that. So here it is. Without further ado, item number 1 on today's MSI.
Your time is through. You're feeling anxious and you don't know what to do. Been getting high with the fires in the sky. If only tempted to come home to you. Is it wrong? Don't punish yourself. Letting go. I don't care. I want it all, but you want no more. So keep me down. I need to fall. In time you will realize what I wanna be, what I wanna see. In time you will realize what I'm gonna be, what I'm gonna see. The hidden places pick up in your eyes. You got the truth to justify the lies. Keep moving closer, pushing back the line. Where there's a passion under your disguise. Long ago, you loved my world. Remember me with other girls. And now I need to let you know I'm getting out of control. In time you will realize
Song number one on MSI. There you have it. Let's go to Ian and find out what he thought about song number one. Ian, your thoughts?
Overall, I liked it. I mean, there's a good song and a good demo sitting there. I mean, I think it does need some attention. I found the acoustic sound very, very thin. I do listen. I play a lot of acoustic myself, and I always listen for a good acoustic sound. I found that a bit thin. Vocals, he had a good performance going on in the verses, and the mix was pretty good in the verses. But as soon as those guitars kicked in on the chorus parts, his voice disappeared from the mix to my ears. And I would have liked to hear, one, his voice brought up in the mix, and two, his performance have more energy and more power. So he kicks up his performance into that chorus and really goes with the energy rather than just staying where he is on the same sort of note structure and octave. Nice piano sound, great performance on that. But I did find, and I'd like to clarify with the other guys if they heard this as well, the intro sounded not quite in time. Things were sort of drifting in and out. It seemed to sort of pick up when the song came in, but it seemed very, very loose on that intro. Like the guitar solo, that was very tasteful, didn't go shredding all over the track. But then there was a load of guitar noise going into that chorus, which I thought was a bit too much. So the guitar solo was good, noise was a bit too excessive. And there was some backing vocals, which I would go back and re-record because I'm going to say they were almost out of tune. They were just on the edge of starting to clash with the other backing vocals. And that grated a couple of times to my ear. I mean, it's just some Americana, middle-of-the-road pop rock. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's a good song. They sound like a bunch of pretty good musicians. I found the drum mix was very dull as well. I thought that the drums were sort of back in the mix, and they were all very sort of sitting around the mid ranges. They need to sort of boost the highs, boost the lows a little bit, and make that drum mix shine and bring it up in the mix a touch more. Yeah, I mean, overall it's Americana, middle-of-the-road pop rock, and it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing new. There's a good song in there somewhere, but this needs a lot of work in the mix, a lot of work on performance, and it could get there.
All right, appreciate it, Ian. Thank you very much. Let's see what Tom thinks. Birthday boy, what are your thoughts on number one?
Yeah. Well, the looseness, it could be attenuated to the fact that the mix was lower in the beginning, and then it sort of, either they were using automation as more instruments came in instead of keeping the mix under control. The volumes kept going up, and by the end, those background vocals sounded like a bunch of druids shouting and chanting. I agree with Ian. They need to re-record them. Better use of them could be made. They did sound very morbid and da, 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 very straight scale-ish and not creative. I would like to see more with that. The drum mix, I like to call it was a little puffy. It was a little impacty, where you would hear that's that lower mids around 800, 900 hertz. You get the impact with a little woof on the kick, and that thudded out a little bit. The lead vocal, the sound was decent, but I agree with Ian. As always, you could always use a louder lead vocal. Overall, I think the main problem I was having was effective maintaining control of the mix and balances. You can reach a point where he was at that point in the mix where I would stop, take a 2-hour break. Obviously, they may not have had the time, just take a break and regroup and control. So a little aside for the engineer. Maybe he's under constraints of time and has to rush it. Sometimes it's good to take a step back.
Right.
The piano sound I liked. Use of that was good, and the song is good. I actually, I'm being very technical here because the song was melodic, and it could, go as a very good demo. And somebody would definitely like it and say, well, we just have to re-record and redo it better.
Understood. I appreciate it, Tom. Thank you very, very much. Let's go to our guest panelist, Bill Evans from the Live to Play Network and Sound Pro Live. Bill, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, there were some problems in the recording, which I'll get into in a second, but I loved this song. I think this is like probably hands down one of the best written songs I've ever heard on this show. I think this is a hit. There are some things that I would have done differently. I actually liked the looseness at the beginning. I noted it there, but I kind of liked it. I agree with both of the other panels about the drum sounds, especially when they went around those tom fills. Those need to really, really come out and pound you upside the head, and they weren't. I would ditch those background vocals. I don't think they brought anything to the mix. I agree the guitar was way too loud in the choruses. And that may not be a question of levels. That may be a question of using EQ to carve some sonic space out for the vocal so the guitar isn't masking it. And it was nice to hear a really cool, pretty melodic guitar solo. You don't hear that very often anymore. He wasn't shredding, and I actually really liked the feedback going into that last chorus. But again, it was too loud. It was overwhelming the vocal, which is kind of a unforgivable sin in pop music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Bill. That makes perfect sense. Gentlemen, let me introduce that song to you. The song is called In Time by Nomad. Nomad brought us In Time, and we appreciate that. And speaking of time, I would imagine we're going to run a little long during this show.
Rich.
So, yes, Ian?
Airplay or no way? We're going to be doing this?
Well, yes, I was going to get to that as soon as I finished explaining to everyone we were going to run long during the show. I do want to know what you guys think. Should it play on the radio or not, guys? What do you think?
Yes.
I say
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
All right, 3 yeses for radio play on that one. Now let's go ahead and get to our second song on MSI today. So let's hear it up, guys. Song number 2, right here, right now on MSI.
finer things in life, don't you? I gotta get another BMW. I speed by other people with the nose stuff. I got a lot, so it's surrender.
There it is, song number 2 on today's MSI. Let's go straight over to the birthday boy, Tommy, find out what he thought. Tom, number 2.
Yes. Well, they raised the bar a bit on mixing. This mix was much more tighter. The drums popped. I wish the lead vocal was louder. Interesting background in the chorus, and just the only thing that bothered me. I mean, I think this is very well done. Definitely radio friendly and ready to play. The only thing that bothered me was, they tried for that muffled TV radio type of sound, and it just, they should have gone for a different tonality. It sounded more muffled and vintage, and that bothered me. But big guitars. This is the type of song I love to mix stuff like this. You just when you get it tight and popping and but too many guitars, solos, parts. It's the stuff I love to mix but hate to listen to.
Gotcha.
But it's done very well. So yeah, I'd give this a go.
All right, thank you, Tommy. Let's take it over to Bill. Bill, what do you think?
I thought it was really well done. It's not my particular cup of tea stylistically. Agree with Tom. They could have gone with less guitar solos. I think there were 2 or 3 of them throughout the course of the song. And I'm a guitar player, and I'm saying there's too many guitar solos. The drum sound was amazing. There was one little thing that bothered me, and it wasn't in the recording, it was in the performance, and this is just a pet peeve. If you're going to think you're Neil Peart, you better have the chops to back it up. This guy has chops, but I don't know if it bothers anybody else, but when he played fills and he got up into the 16th note range, he was rushing the fills. I mean, he always came back in at the right place, and he was playing in time, but those fills were rushed, and that's something that really bugs me.
All right, makes sense to me. I appreciate it, and let's find out what Ian thought. Ian?
Personally, this is right up my alley. I loved it. I think this is brilliant. I know what you mean, Bill. His drums were occasionally slightly loose, but he can play about 3,000 times better than I can. The drum mix was incredible on this. The snare that took your head off, the toms that went right across the pans. The guitar sound was spot on. Bass was just sat there very, very nicely. But yeah, where was that vocal? Want to hear it, and it was just buried. The snare was just snapping through it at some points in time, just obliterating what was being said. What lyrics I could make out sounded well written. I want to hear him, and I want to hear the guy's voice. He sounded like he was throwing out a good performance. And I would listen to this. I'd probably go out and buy something like this. I thought the arrangement was great, personally. I thought, was it 2 or 3 guitar solos? However many it was, yeah, bring them back. I mean, there's not enough guitar solos in rock music these days. It's all scratching and sampled stuff instead. This had a very sort of Slash's solo stuff meets a bit of Velvet Revolver, which is Slash also, but mixed with a bit of Disturbed as well. And I think you were talking in the chat about Faith No More. So lots of influences in this, but you know, loved it all, and I thought the drums were wicked.
All right. Well, there you have it. Radio play or out in the pasture to stay, guys.
Sling
I'd
it
say
on.
yes.
Oh yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Let me introduce it, everybody. The song you just heard was called Never Enough by Bill on Guitar. Bill on Guitar submitted that one. I wish you'd let me know what the band name is. We appreciate it, guys. Never Enough, again,
Hang
from
about.
Bill on Guitar. Yes, sir.
Wasn't Bill, was it?
It was Bill,
No,
Bill on Guitar.
I don't play quite that well, guys.
So there you have it. Let's now, gentlemen, go on to song number 3, if we can, so we can get right to it and maybe bring the show back on track. So here it is, number 3.
What have I ever done to deserve even one moment? One moment of your time. Oh, I think you are divine. Time is standing still. Can't you hear the whippoorwill? She's calling. She's calling out your name. Oh, it's driving me insane. No, it pleases me to know you become the one who opened up my soul. Oh no, it pleases me to know you become the one who never let me
Song number 3 on MSI. There you have that one. Let's find out what Bill thinks of it. Bill, your thoughts on number 3?
Another good track. Well recorded. I think that everything we've heard today suffers from is when those guitars come in, it's just burying the vocal. When the song started, it was like, oh, this is going to be one of those kind of quasi dance tracks that I hate. But arrangement wise, it needed a break someplace. There was never any release. It was kind of repetitious, but I thought it was a pretty good vocal performance. She got a little pitchy when she went up in the pre-choruses and in the choruses a couple of times. You might want to fix that a little bit in the mix. But yeah, overall well recorded. It's got that kind of tribal drum thing going. I thought it was, and I love the guitar sound. I just hated the fact that it was stepping on the vocal line, and the way the guitar player echoed the one vocal line when he came in was really cool. You don't hear that enough.
All right. Appreciate that, Bill. Thank you. And Ian, your thoughts?
We don't need no education. That bass line just really reminded me of Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. And that guitar sound, the lead had a very, very Peter Gilmore sound to it as well. So I think, there's a lot of Pink Floyd gone into this. But it was, to me, it was an 80s pop tune. This should have been out, 20 odd years ago, but no, 30 odd years ago. Bloody hell, I'm getting old.
You're getting
Again,
old.
I mean, sorry, boys. I know I'm the youngest. There's no hope for you guys. Yeah, I mean, the synth sounds, I felt they were a little dated. I felt the drums, again, were just buried, except for the hi-hat, which was annoyingly sticking out in my left ear roll. Just... I liked the clean guitar licks. They were very funky, and they really worked for me. But overall, I found the mix, everything was just on top of each other. I think it's either been over-compressed or it's just been mixed. Everything's just been mixed really loudly. And there was no space, as Tom would say. They need to create some space for the mix using some reverbs and some more pans and get everything sitting off each other, maybe a bit more EQ as well, just to move the instruments around. Again, as Bill said, it got a bit repetitive. I would like to heard more vocal works and more harmonies and to lift that vocal. I mean, I liked her vocal again. She did get a bit edgy in places where she went a little bit flat or just a little bit off. Overall, yeah, I mean, it is another good track. Still, I'm just going to think of Pink Floyd with that one now. If we're talking radio, let's put it on the radio.
All right. I appreciate it, Ian. Thank you. Tom, the birthday boy, what do you think about this track, the last one, number 3?
I was thinking more Blondie than Pink Floyd. Yeah, Ian, caught my whole review there. The mix had no space. This was done all in the box on a computer with only one reverb, it sounded like. Definitely needed more work on the mix. The vocal, again, needed to be louder. I think the vocal needed to be re-recorded. She's got a unique voice and vocal style, and yeah, she does get a little pitchy in places, or as we like to say in the professional world, it's not the best part of her voice. She definitely can do better, and I would push for that. But again, you never know what people are dealing with budget-wise and whatnot. I don't think this would be radio ready. The work needs to be done on the mix is a lot. And because there's so much going on, like Bill said, there's no release of tension. It could have used a break. It could definitely use more instrument changing, droppings in and out, and more evolving and movement. A mix has got to move. It can't just be, here's everything, listen to it, see what I have wrought. you have to have a logical flow. Build the beginning, build, release, and go out big or go out small, but change it up a bit. And on this one, I would just have to say, because the other two had such a high level on of what they've done, I think this one suffers from being in with the big boys. When plus it's just a completely different style. But I just think it could be better.
All right, appreciate that, Tommy. So what I'm hearing from you all, and I just dropped, Bill just got dropped, so hopefully he will we'll get back in touch with him. I think we got him back. At least I hope we do. Bill, you're back with us?
I'm back with you.
Okay, yeah, I saw you drop there for a second, so we're going to work on getting your video back. So what I'm hearing from you guys then is 2 yeses for radio play and 1 no. Is that right?
I would say a yes, but I'm going to qualify that. I think that the mix on this to me sounds like it was done by somebody who's listened to MP3s all their life. It was very
Yeah.
squash, but you know what? We're going to hear a lot more of that. That's we're at a point where the generation coming up thinks that MP3s sound better than vinyl or a native AFF file or anything else because that's what they're used to hearing.
Right, I agree with you there. So let me introduce the song to everyone, and we'll see if we can get Bill's video back up with us. But the name of the track is One and Only One by Donnie Allen. Donnie Allen sent that track in to us again, One and Only One. So thank you very much. If you're an independent musician, want to send a track in to MSI for us to review, just go on over to musicsceneinvestigation.com. Click on that Submit a Song menu item and sign up, submit that song to us. We select 3 tracks randomly every week for review by our panelists, and we'd be happy to have yours among those in the list. So, gentlemen, every week we have to do this. After we hear all 3 songs, we need you guys to decide on a song of the week. So I leave it to you to discuss amongst yourselves and let me know what you think.
Well, I mean, I'll go first. It's my birthday. It's my party. I'll cry if I want to.
All right.
Definitely number 2. It was overall, despite the flaws, it was overall superior on all levels. So I would say number 2.
All right, we have a number 2. Bill, Ian?
I think I'm going to be the one to disagree this time because I think I know where Ian's going to go. I'm going to say number 1. I really liked I thought it was a really well-crafted song. There were some problems in the mix that need to be addressed, but as far as just a good pop tune, I thought it was really well done. I thought it was pretty well recorded. Some things that need to be addressed, but I would say number 1.
All right, Ian.
Number 3 was good. Number 1 was better. And number 2 for me was the best track this week. So let's go with number 2. Sorry, Bill.
All right, so there you have it. Number 2 as Song of the Week, Never Enough by Bill on Guitar. Just for reference, the guys out in the chat room seem to like number 3 out of all the songs up there. So we had more votes.
To MP3s.
Yeah, well, there you go. That might be it. But we had more votes for song number 3 than we did for number 2 or 1. So there you have it. Bill, thanks as always.
Revolting.
Yeah, thanks as always for being with us. We definitely appreciate the fact you came off of NAMM and decided to jump right in the panelist seat with us. So we appreciate
Well, thanks
that.
for having me. It's always a good time.
Well, we appreciate it. And Ian, you want to let...
see you again, Bill.
Absolutely. You want to let everybody know, Ian, who is up on next week's show with us?
It's Mr. John Gherkensmeyer.
J.L. Gherkensmeyer himself, the hippie. He's actually going to be moving to Hawaii in a couple of short months, so we may not have him to kick around that much longer. But he's going to.
They've not got internet in Hawaii.
Well, he likes to sleep, I guess. So anyway, we'll have him on the show with us next week. Again, Bill, thanks for being with us, and we're going to send everybody over to the Live to Play Network, and of course, we want them to find out everything there is to know about NAMM over there at your network. Since you guys were there, you guys are the go-to source, right?
Absolutely. L2pnet.com. Check it out. Now, and we were streaming live on Ustream. There's an L2P channel on Ustream if you want to see what we did from the show floor.
Very cool stuff. Appreciate that, Bill. Thank you so much. We're going to play out with Never Enough with Bill on guitar right here on MSI. Tune in again next week, folks. We're going to do this all over again. Thank you for being with us.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.
See y'all.